Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for clicking on a video of mine. I'm so proud to make videos for you guys, and I'll keep doing it if you keep clicking on the videos. Today's video is going to be a beginner's guide for Survivor. So if you're getting into the show, this vid's for you. If you're already into the show and you just want to see how I would talk to someone who's not into the show, which I think is pretty interesting on its own, stay tuned. So today we're going to talk about the overall format of Survivor, just some facts on Survivor, and what I would have wanted to know going into Survivor so that I wouldn't be disappointed and or confused at certain points of the show. Okay, so first off, as of season 40, the game works in 3-day cycles for the most part, meaning that each episode is 3 days. You usually, sometimes in the end game, it's 2 or even 1 day, and sometimes there's alterations of this. But usually the game works in 3-day cycles for each episode, and in that cycle, one person will be voted out, and that depends on what happens earlier in the episode. So the game starts out with like up to this point 16 to 20 people. They are split into either 2, 3, or 4 tribes. And what will happen is there's a possibility for the reward challenges, which the tribes will compete, and the winner or winners will get some sort of reward, whether that's food or things that they can use to help survive or make life easier. And then after that, there's always an immunity challenge. So because this is where there's still tribes, and an immunity challenge is where the tribes face off in a challenge, and the winner slash winners don't have to go to what's called tribal council. Tribal council is where you vote somebody out of your tribe, and the loser slash losers have to go to tribal council, where they vote out a member usually. Now, obviously, all of these are subject to change because of the fact of twists and stuff like that. But usually, this happens for anywhere from 2 to 6 episodes around there, and then depending on the era in the season that you watch, after these 2 to 6 episodes, meaning 2 to 6 people get voted off, there may, keyword there may, but nowadays there's usually a swap where the tribes will either randomly or with production picking them swap people so that it makes it interesting. So meaning that if I'm on one tribe and we swap, I could possibly be swapped to another tribe with completely different people, or I could stay on my own tribe, and but my whole tribe believes, and I have new people, and it keeps the game interesting, and it can lead to people either getting very lucky with the swap that they get or very unlucky. This happens up until there's about 13, from 13 to maybe 10 or 9 people left, somewhere in that area. All of the tribes that are left, whether it's 2 or 3, will merge together to make one merged tribe. This is what's called the merge. The merge is a big turning point because the game turns from a group game, a tribal game, to an individual game. All immunity challenges will be individual, meaning it'll be 13 people, and the last one standing, or the one to win the challenge, whatever it is, will win individual immunity, meaning they can not be voted out in the merged tribe. But the kicker is everybody else can be, and you go to tribal every single time, or every single cycle after the merge, making the game a lot more interesting and intense. Usually seasons, get a lot more exciting at the merge, but there are occasional seasons where it's not as exciting at the merge because of imbalance of numbers based on tribal lines and tribal alliances. For reference, I usually most people can figure this out on their own, but if you haven't figured it out already, this has forced people to make alliances or voting blocks where people get together and agree to not write each other's name down. This is very common in Survivor, and has become a lot more complicated over the years as it's become more commonplace to do so. While we're on the topic of how the game is played, there are plenty of advantages in this day and age of Survivor, and by this day and age of Survivor, I mean like anywhere past season 30, there are a lot of advantages, right? But the one that stayed consistent since around season 12, 11, 12, 13, 14-ish is what's called the hidden immunity idol. So it does the same thing as an individual immunity necklace, but you have to find it somewhere, whether it's in the forest, at a challenge, under the shelter, in a tree. You have no idea, but usually people will get clues to those hidden immunity idols and find them, or they'll just go looking with no clue and find it. And the kicker is that you have to play the immunity idol before the votes are read, but after they're cast, meaning that you have to have an awareness that you're going to get voted out, or whoever you play the hidden immunity idol for is going to get voted out. So it causes you to have to guess based on social connections and bonds. Moving along in chronological order in the game, after the merge, there's at some point there's usually a family visit where the people in the game will get some sort of love from home. It's usually just a physical visit from their family members, which is very emotional. There's in certain seasons up until recently there was something called the auction where the players could bid on food items and or advantages, but it's recently gotten taken out because players have become smart enough and kind of broke the auction, which I can make a whole another video on how the auction was broken if you guys want. And so this happens, the individual section of the game after the merge happens all the way until either final four, depending on when you're watching the show. So as of the season 35, at Final Four, there's something called forced fire making. And that's where the winner of the Final Four immunity challenge, the individual immunity challenge, gets to pick one person to bring through the vote of Final Three and make the other two people have a fire making challenge. And the winner gets to also come to Final Three. But before that, there was no such thing, and the only way that a fire making challenge happened at Final Four was if the vote was tied 2-2. Now, another thing is that at Final Three, as of around season, I believe the last seasons where it was like consistent was season 12. But then it pops up every once in a while where it switches, but as of then, usually what happens is at the Final Three, everyone usually past the merge, everyone who was voted out, who has been watching from the jury this entire time post-merge, gets to now vote for the winner of the game. So from the merge person who gets voted out at the very start of the merge to the person who gets voted out at Final Four, they all make up a jury who witnesses every tribal council as jury members. And those jury members aren't part of the game, but they're part of the jury. And they, in the end, when it gets down to the Final Three, get to decide who wins. Now, before that, they did the exact same thing, except with no forced fire making at Final Four, and it was a Final Two. And the jury started one vote after the merge. But essentially, the jury is made of people who made it far enough in the game that they know everybody and that they're in the know of the game at least. And at some point at Final 3 or 2, the people there, the power now shifts to the jury to make the decision on who wins the game. Now, as of how many seasons there are 40 seasons as of making this video. On July 19th, 2021. Season 41 is due to come out September 22nd of 2021. And so there's a lot of, it's a very long tenured show. So there's a lot of respect that people in the reality TV, hemisphere have for the show. It's definitely the most, respectable reality TV show. And I think the best show on television. It's a very interesting dynamic for the game. The motto for the game is outwit, outlast, and outplay, and it's very suited for the game. I believe I believe that you can access the show if you're not watching it live, which it airs Wednesdays at 8 weekdays when the season is airing. You can watch it on Hulu, Paramount Plus, and I believe you can also watch it on HBO Max. But Hulu and HBO Max have only a certain amount of seasons, while Paramount Plus has all of the seasons. Seasons air from around September to late November, and then there's another season that airs from around early February to late May, and that's just about it. It's a very complicated game, but as you get to watch more seasons, you'll get more into it. If you want to see the 5 seasons that I would recommend for a beginner Survivor watcher, let me know, and I will let you know what those seasons are. And if that's it, thank you for watching. 81% of you guys who are watching this video are not subscribed. Let's change that. It's free and it's easy. And if that's it, see you later.